Hi, friends. Welcome to the Tell All podcast. It is the official episode 1. And we have the most special guest who we have reserved for this very moment. Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. It is Corinne. Oh my God. We're so excited to have Corinne on this very first episode. She is the epitome of friggin' badass. We love her. She is the most requested person, by the way, for this podcast. So we are giving you guys exactly what you want.
Give the people what they want.
Yes, amen to that. So here we go. Let's get started. So for those that don't know, Corona and I were on the same season of the reality show that we were both featured in. And we met also as well. We've met before in New York City. But this is our first time doing like sort of this kind of setup. So
This is definitely our first time doing this.
this is different. Yeah, we've been together on the same show. The show basically is, for those that don't know, I think most of you do know, but if you don't know, we are going abroad to live with our significant others who live in other countries. She went to Iceland. That happened. Where it's like frigid cold.
It's very cold.
I don't know anything about Iceland, but you said like there are only certain hours in a day where it's like light.
In the wintertime, you get about 3 to 5 hours max of daylight.
3 to 5 hours.
So you really have to use military time because you look and it's 3. Is it 3 p.m., 3 a.m.? You don't know. No clue.
Actually, insane. I can't imagine living like that. And you were there for how long?
A total of about 4 months.
Wow. Yeah, Jesus. Okay. So you're there for 4 months. You moved over to be with your
Ex.
We'll say X. Okay. X. Okay, we're calling it X. You're done. Done. Zell Washington. Done. Okay. Okay, and we did find that out on the show.
We did. Finally, by the tell-all. But as you know, sometimes relationships end before you're allowed to tell people that it's ended.
We both have that experience.
Yes. So then there's just like, there was a legitimate 6 months of me just like stewing on this and wanting to like tell my truth, being silenced.
That is hard.
So then when it finally came out, it was a bit abrupt. And so people were like, oh my God, why is she so mad? What's going on?
I had the exact same experience.
Because I've been holding this in for 6 months and sometimes the lid blows.
Yes. You're having to keep it in that like you and this person are no longer together.
Yes.
And then, so you and I also have this unique experience. Everyone else stayed together.
Yes.
They may not be together right now, but they stayed together till
throughout the filming at least.
Right, yes, exactly. What we had, however, is we were not together and we had to watch this stuff back. After we'd broken up with our people.
So it's really upsetting to watch your relationship unfold when you're like, oh man. And then hindsight, always 2020. So I'm looking back and I'm like, oh my God, you should have left then. You should have left then.
Yes.
You should have left then. Why is she still there? Fuck.
So you started seeing red flags. Like,
watching back, I saw all the red flags that my rosy goggles were like, it's fine.
What is that like to look back on?
It absolutely sucks. And it makes me feel like, damn, am I stupid? But it's like, no, love makes you dumb.
Yes. That is so frustrating. Yeah. And also, like, it's such not a typical experience to, like, watch your relationship back.
No one else has to do that.
No. And
I've had other exes, obviously, and, like, you never have to watch the relationship back. No one has to do that.
Because you see the good parts, too.
Yeah.
And you also see obviously the red flag. You do see the good parts. And when you see those good parts, it's kind of just like...
It's another, like, knife turn in the heart. It's like, fuck.
So I think a lot of people have questioned if your relationship was genuine.
That is, like, the number one question I get.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating because, yes, for the record, it was a real fucking relationship. But it's so disheartening to have, like, my real experiences invalidated by people that I'll never meet. But it takes like one person to say one thing and then boom, it was all fake. And it's like, no, these are my real feelings and that was my real life.
Yeah. You strongly felt you like loved it.
I loved him.
Yeah. And that's, I think, something that people don't see because they only see the emotions after you've already broken up.
Yeah, but like there's a thin line between love and hate, and I don't think you can hate someone to the degree that I hate him, but you can't have that kind of hate without ever having love.
Damn, I could sit with that for a minute.
Yes.
That's serious. Yeah, no, that's true. I also feel that, like, to an extreme. Like, I loved my ex, and now I just can't stand her, can't stand to talk about her, can't stand to see her. Like, it was painful watching all of that back.
Yeah.
So I definitely get that. I feel that. And, like, having people, strangers who have watched, like, such a small portion
Small tidbit.
of your relationship.
Yeah.
Like, so how long was your relationship, and then, like, how long was filming?
In total, like, so we were talking for like a year before we actually officially got together.
Yeah.
And then we dated for, I don't even know how long until it ended, maybe like 8 months or something.
Right.
So in the grand scheme of things, genuinely my shortest relationship ever, but like blown up the biggest in my face.
That's insane.
Yeah. In terms of the grand scheme of my life, this is a blink of the eye, but it's gotten the most attention out of everything.
That's wild.
Which is unfortunate because I have exes that I love and still respect, and we're still friends. So it's like unfortunate that people never got to see how I actually am after a breakup. I'm actually the best ex-girlfriend that you'll ever have in your life.
Damn.
Genuinely, like, best friends with some of my exes.
Yeah. What caused the relationship to end with such a bad bang? Like, what caused it to?
I think it's just how it ended. So previous relationships, there's been a conversation. We're like, okay, this relationship isn't working for us. So, you know, the best thing to do is to split. But it's, you have that conversation about it.
Yeah.
My ex did not have a conversation about it. He simply just left.
Seriously? See, I didn't know that.
Just left.
I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
had you gone back to Philly from Iceland?
Correct.
And then he just ghosted you, or like he?
No. Okay, so I moved back because I couldn't go to school in Iceland. Unfortunately, it was gonna take too long.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? Let me go back and finish school because that's always been my number one priority.
Right.
Love is nice and it's an accessory, and it did make me do some crazy moves, but at the end of the day, I knew I always wanted to be a midwife. So like, I need to go back home and finish school. And so I told my ex, like, hey, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
We can either be separated for the next 2.5 years, or you can come here. The choice is up to you. I would never pull you from your place. But he was actually so excited to quit his job. Little did I know, he hated his fucking job.
Seriously?
So he was looking for a reason to leave. So he's like, nope, I'm ready to go. So I was like, okay, I'll pay for your visa. Like, in my mind, my money was his money. We're gonna be married. What's mine is yours.
Right.
I didn't think two things of it. I was like, I'm gonna pay for this visa because my man's coming.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Of course.
Perfect. I don't even think 3 weeks passed after I filed for the visa did he get up and leave. Not even 3 fucking weeks. And then when I got the message that our visa was approved, months later, it like broke my heart all over again. Because I'm like, in another life, I would have been so excited to see that approval. And like, oh yes, my baby gets to come, it's been approved. And then to just know, like, I don't even fucking talk to this dude anymore. It broke my heart. And he didn't even know it was approved. So I had to sit with that information and just like broke my heart all over again.
So you're having to freaking mourn this relationship in another country. You don't get that like closure.
I never got any closure from the relationship. Like, he had come down to the States on a ticket I bought for him to come to the States because I was like, it's your birthday. I want you to come meet my family. So I bought him his flight from Iceland a year. Yes. And then like on the tell-all, he says, oh, when she got to the States, she was a completely different person. What he doesn't say is I have PTSD when I'm driving. I don't like to drive.
Yeah.
A lot has happened in my life. I don't like to drive.
Oh, God.
I drove 3.5 hours to go pick him up from the airport in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And so when I got there, I even told him, I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm happy to see you, but I'm a bit on edge because I just drove for so long and like I almost got in a wreck. So I'm a bit shook up, but I'm very happy to see you. And then we went to go see my brother and I was able to calm down and it got better. But for him to say she was a completely different person, like, that's BS. Like, yes, I never drove in Iceland. I didn't have to drive.
Yeah.
He met my friends and family and everything seemed fine, whatever.
Okay, I didn't know that. He met your friends and family.
He did meet
in person.
in person.
Oh, okay.
He met my friends and family, got to know everyone. Everyone was trying to get to know him,
Yeah.
whatever. And then he went back to Iceland for a little bit. And then, you know, I was like, yeah, I miss you, blah, blah, blah. So I bought him a second flight down, like a few weeks later. 2 flights I bought him to the States.
That's wild.
I know. But I was thinking, what's mine is yours. I didn't care about money. It was fine. I want to see my person. I will pay for it. I got money. He doesn't. So I bought his flight down again the second time. And then when he came, my friend was having their baby, my friend that was on the show.
Yeah.
So I was on hospital for 2 days because it was a really long labor and a lot was going on. So when I came home, I'm stressed, I'm tired. It didn't go exactly as planned. And I always take that really personally, even if it has nothing to do with me. So I needed some time to like process that. And then he's like, oh, why are you being like this? What's wrong? It's like, nothing's wrong. Like, I love you. I just like, can I have a little like time to decompress
Sure.
the situation that just happened that you'll never understand? I can't tell you about it. You're not in this space. You don't know.
Yeah.
Didn't understand that at all. And then I could just tell his energy was down, 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 down. To the point, like the last date we went on, he took me to a steakhouse. I'm a vegetarian.
Oh, no. No.
And he's known that. He took me to a steakhouse. He got a rare prime rib that it was like this big. It looked bloody. I don't know if you know what a prime rib looks like. I think they always look a little crazy.
Oh, my God. As a vegetarian myself, I'm cringing.
Oh my God. So it was like an hour of me watching him eat. I couldn't even eat my food because I was like,
You're like raw. He's talking mashed potatoes.
yeah. And it was just, there was nothing for me to eat. I literally had 3 different kinds of potatoes for my meal because that's all I could have while he eats this humongous steak
Wow.
that I swear quivered when he cut it. It was fucking disgusting. And then as we're leaving the restaurant, there was these concrete stairs. And you know, I usually wear some tall heels. And if I'm going for a date, I'm wearing like my nice tall heels. And I'm like going down the stairs like a little unsteady because I had a couple drinks. And he didn't even reach out his hand to help me. He was at the bottom of the stairs watching, like, damn, I hope she don't fall. And I'm like, dude, and I even told him, like, why didn't you help me down the stairs? And he's like, oh, this is my first time being in a relationship. Like, what do I know? And it's like, wait, miss me with that. I saw you help your mom down the stairs when they were icy in Iceland. So you know to help someone when they need help. You just didn't feel inclined to help me because you don't give a damn about me.
That's crazy. That's just basic human
stuff. So that night, I slept on the couch because, yeah, I was a little annoyed. You took me to a steakhouse. You didn't help me down the stairs. You had never bought me any flowers.
Like, after you bought him 2 flights.
After I bought him 2 flights. Yeah, and by the second time, our K1, between the first flight and the second flight, I spent for the K1. So that was that process.
$1,000, right?
It was $675 for the visa and then $300 for the lawyer fees on top of that.
Ooh.
X, if you're watching this, give me my money back. So I slept on the couch that night because I was just like, I was frustrated, honestly. I was like, I just need a little break. So I have a double apartment, like a bi-level.
Oh, right.
So he slept downstairs in the bedroom. I slept upstairs on the couch. And then that morning, I was like, you know what? That things have been weird, but I can always circle back. I can get the energy back. Let me go get my man some breakfast. So I went to go get him some breakfast tacos that I know he likes. And so I had them like set up on the table when he woke up and came upstairs. He came upstairs with his suitcase. And then I was like, what's going on here? And he's like, I'm going to go to hotel. Like, I guess it's just done between us, right? And then in my mind, I will never hold someone. So if you want to leave, my question is, why are you still here?
Right.
You can go. The door is, I'm not trapping anyone. So I was like, okay, bye. I didn't even fight him. I was like, bye. And as he was leaving, I was like, you want your tacos at least? He's like, I don't have anywhere to hold them. He had 1 suitcase and a jacket. Take your tacos, bruh. And they were chicken tacos. I can't eat them. So he left.
Bizarre.
And then I'm thinking, all right, relationship is done. He's done. And then a couple hours later, he sent me a text message. He's like, do you want to meet me at the bar for a drink so we could talk? And I was like, no, I don't want any alcohol involved. I'm at the park reading a book. You can come meet me at the park if you want to talk because I'm already here. So I'm reading my book. He shows up. He sits down and he's like, so I guess we're broken up. And I was like, is that really what you came here to say? And then I told him the night before, I was like, you might need therapy, like individual therapy, and then maybe we can think of couples therapy. But I'm in therapy myself. So I was like, you might need some individual therapy to figure out what your deal is.
Right.
He didn't like that. He's like, oh, so you're telling me I'm broken? And I think there's a negative stigma with therapy. Like, I'm in therapy. It doesn't mean you're broken. Therapy is how you get help. It's how you talk things through.
And grow.
And it's how you grow.
Yes.
And with this being his first relationship, naturally, there was a lot of growth that needs to occur. And I can't be responsible for all your growth.
No.
Some of that you're going to need to take a hold of yourself and be accountable for yourself. He didn't like to hear that. So he was just like, fine, I'm done. And then so he got up from the bench, walked away. I never saw him again.
Are you serious? That was the last you like.
That was the last I heard or saw from him until the reunion episode. Literally never saw, talked, or heard from him again. But 2 days later, he did his interview doing that article saying, we broke up, the show is blah, 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 everything that he said. 2 days after he left me on that park bench, he did that interview. 2 days.
So he was fresh in his emotions.
Fresh.
So that's where this fucking like crazy energy came from. That's where all these lies came from that he said in these articles. One day of getting on a flight, boarding a flight, going back to Iceland.
Yeah.
And then the next day,
Article. Yep.
It's insane.
Yep. They didn't tell me that he did it. I had no heads up. They used pictures from my personal Instagram, even used my handle in it. They were talking about where I go to school, giving a bunch of personal information about me in the article. So I reached out to the publisher of that article and I was like, hey, I did not give permission for you guys to use my pictures or information about me. I did not approve this. And lo and behold, who responded to that message? His sister-in-law, who's the publisher of the company. And she responded and she's like, Corona, nothing bad was said about you. I think it all looks really good. So we're just gonna leave it.
So when he says it's in the family, like it stays in the family, he literally means it stays in the family. As in, this journalism came from his family.
From his family.
Okay, so they're not any bias at all. There's like no bias.
No bias, of course not. It's just his sister-in-law.
Heavy on the sarcasm. Okay, I didn't know any of that.
No one does.
That's why, like, this article is crazy.
And people have used this article alone
as fact.
As fact, and to be like, your relationship's fake, everything's fake. We know this to be true. No matter how much I say, this isn't true, no one believes me. And it's so upsetting for people to invalidate such a real experience I had.
Jesus.
Because they read something from an article of someone who was freshly broken up 2 days and was just going and saying shit.
His sister.
Published by his sister-in-law. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not a liar.
Right.
And why lie about this? That doesn't make any sense. For what? I already did the show. What a lie for what now?
All right. What benefits you from this?
Nothing.
This literally nothing.
Just trying to speak my truth.
I feel you on that because I'm a truth. I love the truth. Like, yeah, the truth needs to be said, and like when it's not said, it makes you feel like such shit because you're like, you can scream it from the rooftops. You can show the receipts.
Yeah.
People have it in their head that it's this way. It will be that way in their head.
I've had so many people tell me the relationship is fake, and a lot of people are like, you broke up before filming. I'd even shown receipts. I applied for this K1 visa months after we were done filming. We stopped filming in February. I didn't apply for the visa until May. So it's like months after I applied. The relationship was not fake and it wasn't done. We just so happened to break up before it aired.
Wow. Holy.
But there's a big difference between breaking up before it airs and breaking up before we filmed. People are just assuming it was this fake thing and, oh, you and your ex just made everything up. Absolutely not.
Right. That is one thing that I just like want to say. These relationships are not fake.
They're not
actors like that. They're just hiring that, like, okay, you're an actor and you're going to get with this actor and it's just all going to be good. Like,
no acting.
There's genuinely a connection. You genuinely fall in love.
Yeah.
With
and then
people.
Even in the article, he said something about, I had to use my improv skills for whatever. There were no improv skills. He was a deer in the headlights the entire time we were filming. And anytime I tried to have a real conversation with him, he'd be like, is this because the cameras? Are you saying this because of the cameras? I was like, no, I'm talking to you. Can you forget about these for 1 second? I know it's a lot of lights and commotion, but I'm actually trying to talk to you.
This is our relationship.
This is our real life.
We be real.
At the end of the day, these people are going to leave and it's just going to be me and you.
So in his head, this is like he saw lights and camera and he was just like, okay, we're on a movie set, we're acting.
Yeah.
But in your head, it's like,
but no one's feeding him lines. No one's doing it. Even at one point, he was like, lime. And it's like, it's not that show. Wow. I think the entire time he was confused what show we were on.
Right. So you're pulling up something from the article. Yeah. In the Iceland paper.
This is the part. It says, the shooting took its toll, but we were still good after that. Then we are actually broken up today. It just didn't work out. She lives in the United States and is studying midwifery at a very nice Ivy League university there. I would like to know where in that sentence it says we broke up before we filmed.
It doesn't.
I would love to know how they got, we were still good after that. Then we are actually broken up today. It just didn't work out. How does that mean we broke up before we started filming?
There's no.
How?
But I've also had this experience where people just make shit up. They said my ex cheated with a producer, and that never happened. I don't know where that even came from.
I would like to say the last sentence he says in the article is, yes, I've started applying to Survivor. I'm going to take over American reality television market.
Ooh.
But I'm the one that forced everyone to be on the show. And like, it was all her idea. But like, I'm going to take over the American reality TV market. I also briefly want to touch. So everyone comes at me for saying like, I don't respect the Icelandic culture. And that is a big thing for me because I'm well-traveled. Iceland's not the first country I've been to. It won't be the last. I respect other cultures. I speak many different languages. I understand different cultures. Him not wanting marriage has nothing to do with his culture. That's on him. So for everyone to be like, oh, he's just a chill Icelandic guy, that's his culture. No, your culture is shaped by the things that are surrounding you. That shapes your culture. Your parents, married. Your brother, married. You don't get to tell me that you don't believe in marriage because of your culture. That's a you thing. Everyone you know is married. And maybe, I'm not saying overall people in Iceland, that may be the overreaching theme in Iceland, that marriage isn't that important, and that's fine. But you don't get to tell me that when every person you've introduced me to is married. Make it make sense. And if you don't want to get married, that's fine. I told him straight up, if you do not want marriage, I'm not the one for you.
Yeah.
Let me go. Somebody out there does want to marry me, you are taking their place.
Yes.
Move.
So did he like kind of just, was he like, oh, maybe?
I think when we had that conversation and I said, if marriage isn't for you, leave, he didn't want to leave. He was using me like a drug. I made him feel good. I was an ego boost. Having a cute girl on your arm, ego boost. Me being like, the first like 50 words I learned in Icelandic were compliments for him. Like I can tell him, you're my handsome man. I love you so much. All this stuff were like the first things that I learned.
Hey.
All to say nice things to him. I was a constant source of ego boost for him. He was using me like a drug.
And then to have everyone to just like,
nope, it was fake anyways. I was like, no, it wasn't. I put a lot of myself, blood, sweat, and tears, and finances into that relationship.
yeah.
For it all to blow up in my face.
Oh, God. I relate to that because I was also used, you know what I mean? Like,
Nice.
for...
I just hope after this, people can now separate me from my ex. We're done. The relationship's done. He's insignificant in my life. I don't want to have to keep answering questions about this. I want to move on. This is a drop in the bucket. I'm ready to move on.
So, like, did he want to be on the show? Like, how did you get into being on the show?
So initially, he had never watched the show. It's not something that films in Iceland, so he had never heard of it. But I have, obviously. And I knew we were in a relationship that things showcase. It's like, we're doing exactly what they're doing.
Right.
So like, and I haven't seen anyone that looks like me or looks like him or a couple that looks like us on this show. So I wanted to showcase like, hey guys, there are other kinds of relationships. We have this thing going on.
Right.
And so I presented him the idea. I was like, hey, like I applied for this show. If you don't want to be on, you don't have to be on. Like I just sent an email. We can always say no.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, let me see the show. So we watched one season, the last season of our show, the season that aired right before us.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, like I guess I can do that. And so, and honestly, it didn't take a lot of convincing. Like at first he was like, I don't know. And then I kept telling him like, if you don't want to, 1,000% no, we don't have to do this.
Yeah.
But if you want to, we can. They're interested in us.
Right.
So it was an option. Right. And then he's like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. He's like, I think I'll regret it if I don't do it.
Yeah.
But then he got so full of himself and he's like, well, now I want to apply for Survivor. I was like, for what? You have the charisma of a mop bucket.
A dirty one at that.
Honestly. Are you kidding me?
All right, so I have a question. I sometimes was surprised by like the scene locations that we did. For my like experience, like sometimes I didn't always know where we were going to like shoot, like which locations we were going to. I'm so curious. Did you plan the penis museum or did the show plan that?
I definitely did not plan the penis museum.
Okay.
I would have sent us to a vagina museum any day. I think penises get enough limelight in media as is.
Can we please put an icon of a penis with limelight?
We've had enough of those. So I hear there is a vagina museum in the world.
Oh, God.
I don't remember where they told me it is, but that would have been my location.
Send me straight to that, please.
Honestly. So no, I had no idea we were even going to the penis museum until like the night before, and I was like, oh, okay.
So is there anything else that you want to clear up between your relationship with him?
With him, absolutely not. I'm done with that. What's done is done. When I left that tell-all stage, the little bit of respect that I had left for him was gone.
Yes, he just got up and left.
He shut up and left, which is exactly what he did before. So it's like, that's just the pattern in his life. He never has to hold himself accountable for anything. He's the baby of the family, and it just like really plays out in his life. So I got nothing to clear up with him. Like, it is what it is. I've washed my hands of it.
Yeah.
I'm glad to have this now to talk about it, because this is the last time I'm talking about it.
Okay.
In the grand scheme of my life, my ex is insignificant.
Right.
I have so many other things going for me. This was a drop in the hat. It was a mistake. I learned some lessons, but you learn. Thank you. Next.
Yes. Okay. And speaking of next, what is next?
Next, I mean, I'm gonna finish school. I'm in school right now to be a midwife.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, so I'm in school to be a midwife, which I love. It is very hard, but I'm doing a good job. It's a decent school, whatever.
Yeah, no, she's being so humble right now, you guys.
But it's going good. I really like I'm finishing up my GYN rotation right now, so I'm getting to place IUDs, do annual exams, and like listen to people. And I just from having conversations with patients, I can tell they're used to people not listening to them. So it's refreshing to be like, hey, I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you. I care what you have to say. And from the tears, I mean, it's a therapy session sometimes. You go in for an annual exam and I end up being their therapist, but it's needed and it's important and I love what I do. So I know I'm in the right place. I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Yes.
The journey was crazy, but it got me to exactly where I need to be.
Oh, that's fucking awesome. Like,
Yeah.
that makes me so emotional for you because as a patient who has not been heard by medical professionals, it is so important that you were doing this.
Yeah.
It is so important. Yeah, I had some issues with my jaw and I continuously brought up, here's what I think it is, to my doctors, and they said, you don't know anything. We're not even going to test for it. Years down the road, they did finally test for it after I begged and pleaded for years after being in pain. Finally, they were like, oh yeah, you were right this whole time. And it's like, if one of you had just listened,
Yep.
that would have been phenomenal.
Yep.
I would also like to talk about, because I know you're very passionate about this, how it is to be specifically a Black woman doing this.
Is very hard. These spaces, historically, if we go back, 400, 500 years, the midwifery space was for us. It was just us, and it was the granny midwives or the slave midwives that were delivering all the babies for their slave owners, slaves alike. And then, I don't want to be too gentrified, but the white man came in, and the OBGYN role was created, and so men took over. And that's when we started to see a decline in maternal health outcomes.
Oh God, yeah.
And it's not until honestly very recently that we're starting to take back over and make midwifery more of what it was before,
Right.
to try to help. I think finally the world is like, okay, we are losing too many women or too many people to childbirth related deaths, that we obviously are not doing something right. So
It's so important.
we're getting into the space finally, but I can say, like, as a Black woman, especially like an alt queer Black woman, I'm very much feel like people try to push me out of the spaces.
Right.
They're like, nope, we don't want you. You're too much. You're too whatever. But I think people don't realize, like, patients want someone they can relate to. And like someone out there is going to be like, I want Corona because I know she's not going to judge me. She understands me. Like I want that alt black queer queen to deliver my baby, and I will.
Yes, that is awesome. And you are that person, exactly that. And like we saw on the show, your friend who identifies as they, them,
Right.
is giving birth.
Yes.
And I'm sure that they probably don't have many people that they would feel comfortable with.
Yeah, definitely not.
To deliver. And so you are that person. Yeah, like that is just so necessary and important. So I just want to give space to that and say that you're doing great work. Fucking go, girl. Like, and she's so smart and so badass. And have you seen her outfits? We love Corona. That is another thing. Like, you are doing such huge things in the world and like for the planet. This show is such a small part of it.
It's a fleck in like the grand scheme of my life. Like this is literally like a drop of water in the bucket. And honestly, maybe the most uninteresting thing that's ever happened to me.
Which is wild.
And it gets the most like attention, which is wild. Like I could write a book about my life and it would have diverse chapters that'll make you laugh, make you cry, make you suicidal at times. And then there'll be one, maybe 3 pages dedicated to my ex in this entire show.
Right. I've heard just bits and pieces of your lore, and I am always just like, So yeah, I think this is very wow, just from hearing that. I am curious, like, how has all of this affected your life?
In the beginning, it was so much negativity that it did actually start to affect me, and it made me
Are you talking about like from the audience, like from
the audience, like just the comments that I was getting were just so overreachingly negative constantly. Anytime I log onto my phone, it's just like negative, negative, negative. And I'm an empath, which I think makes me a good medical professional because I can walk into a room and feel the energy of my patient and like try to match it or bring them to where they are trying to get to. But it also makes me a bit of a sensitive soul in the grand scheme of like, now I have millions, maybe not millions, at least thousands.
yes, millions.
Millions of people that just are saying all these negative things. And it's just like, I wish you guys would understand that you've only seen a tunnel hole, very small portion of my life. And there's so much more to me that you guys didn't get to see, and you probably never will.
Right.
But just understand that you cannot make such general statements about someone. Like I've had people say, oh, you'll be a terrible midwife. I would never trust you to deliver my baby, blah, blah, all this stuff. And it's like, I may be the person you should trust the most. I'm not judgmental. I understand and I listen. And that is something that I cannot say from most medical professionals. So just to hear those things, every people will be like, oh, well, you're not classy and all these other things, just all the hate. It did get to me in the beginning, but now time has passed and I'm getting thicker skin, which I didn't think was possible. I thought I had rhino skin as is, but now it's Teflon. So throw whatever you want. It's not going to change. I'm still going to keep pushing and I'm still going to keep pursuing my dreams.
Wow. So how did that kind of like happen? So you started, the comments affected you, it hurt. Like, how did you deal with that? Like, did you, say something back to them? How did you go from that to like thick skin?
I think in the beginning, it was a lot of me coming back at like the haters and be like, no, you're wrong because this, and then trying to show receipts and all this stuff. But I think it took long enough. I eventually realized they do not care about receipt. There is something called like confirmation bias in which you are looking for only facts that serve the idea that you've already come up with in your head.
Yeah.
So no matter what I show you guys, you're going to have the idea that you already have. So I just had to let it go. Like, what you guys think, it finally set into my brain, what you guys think has nothing to do with me.
Wow. That's a big lesson, I think, to learn, like, just in general in life. I'm still learning that lesson, let's be honest. I'm still struggling.
That's not to say that I won't still come on and pop off every now and again at a comment, but that doesn't mean, like, I'm actually, like, in my room crying about it. That's, like, me, like, bye. And I'm still smiling at the end of the day because nothing anyone can say at this point is going to affect me. I'm going to keep living my life regardless.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you feel like doing the show, like you almost had to do the show and get that much widespread hate for you to like kind of build this up?
I mean, maybe. Like in the grand scheme of things, I looked back and it didn't feel that way at first. Like I thought I was already like, I look the way I look. I've been getting haters my whole life. Like, it is what it is. When I was younger, I was one of the few alt queer Black kids in middle school. So I'm used to being bullied and for standing up for bullies. And that's just been kind of my whole life. But I do think this has now, taken my rhino skin to Teflon.
Damn.
So it did upgrade me to a level I didn't know I could reach.
Damn, that's wild. I mean, I would say I kind of had a similar experience. For the first season that I did, it was so rough.
Yeah.
And I sat with that for a year, and I got depressed, straight up.
Yeah.
And honestly, I got kind of end of lifey at certain points. Yeah. I was just like, I don't even know if I want to continue. Yes, because honestly, and it was also tough because I was in this toxic relationship, and I didn't think I know obviously we both had our own issues, but I felt like maybe she was a little bit more toxic. But then I would get this feedback from everyone else saying, no, actually you're the toxic one.
Yeah.
And so that kind of like affected me, and I don't think I was as strong enough to like deal with that. Luckily there was a second season, and I somehow was able to like get to the point where I'm like, whatever you say, you can go F yourself. I know me.
Yeah.
But like, Dosh, like, do you have any advice for like anyone who's considering doing the show who like maybe from both aspects, really, from someone coming in with strong skin who might be able to handle this, and somebody who like maybe isn't there yet?
I mean, it's hard to say because I went into this knowing, like, in my head, like, yeah, I'm going to get some hate. I had no idea it was going to be as tremendous of hate as it came out to be, but I was prepared for, like, a decent amount. And that's coming in with thick skin, being, like, having lived the life that I lived. And it's still something, like, looking back, I'm like, damn, I kind of wish I didn't do it. So for other people looking in, I don't know. You need to figure out, like, pros and cons and weigh it out yourself. I can say for me personally, it's like the cons list I can write a book on. And I'm not sure what pros I have. I met you, pro. Otherwise,
Dang. So like the show didn't really add anything to your life.
my life did not benefit at all from the show.
No. Did it add or did it subtract?
Oh, I mean, it's really, that's so hard to answer, honestly.
Because there's different aspects.
There's so many different aspects to it, but I think overall, this was not a positive experience for me. It caused me to grow, and growth is hard. Always. Not always. Maybe some growth is cool. I don't know about that life. I will say I think I'm a better person now because of it, but it's only because I got drugged through the mud, both from people and from myself. Because, yeah, you read these comments and you start to think about yourself, and then you start to lower your own self-worth, and then you got to pull yourself out of the gutter and be like, nope, these people cannot drag you down. They don't know you. So, I don't know. If you don't feel like you can pull yourself out of that, it may not be the best move. Because, yeah, there were times where I was like, I don't even want to continue on.
Yeah.
And then with the bad, it's like sometimes we're not allowed to like stand up for ourselves, or like now I'm combative and now I'm feeding in that angry Black woman stereotype. But it's like people are allowed to say whatever they want to me. But if I respond matching that same energy, now I'm the aggressor and I'm the mad one. And that's been my way my whole life. I got a loud voice, whatever. It's always been that way. But now just with the way social media has evolved, it's toxic. It's like amplified. It's amplified.
Yeah, so from doing this show and everything, obviously there's positives and negatives, and like you were shown in this specific light, and people are either going to love you or hate you, and they do. They love you or freaking hate you. What would you want people to take away from you, from watching you on the show?
I think I just want people to take away, like, take everything with a grain of salt and realize what you saw is not all that I have to offer, not even close. So just take it with a grain of salt. And if you guys want to see more of who I actually am, then you need to follow my main page and follow my Midwifery page, because I am a Libra, so I am both. Like, part of me is this alternative punk princess, and the other part of me is a professional midwife bitch. So, and I'm nothing without both of those things.
As far as moving on, I think everyone is probably curious. You're fantastic. Are you dating?
I'm not currently dating.
Okay.
Your girl's single.
Are you taking time to heal, or are you like options open? Are you interested?
Enough time has passed, and now I'm past the relationship, and I think I'm ready to like start something up again.
Okay.
But I will not be taking on any more projects.
Yes.
this isn't build a boo. I'm not doing this anymore. Someone needs to come at me whole and correct, and I will accept you as you are. I'm not looking at potential in anyone anymore. As far as I know, nobody has potential. You have what you present with me, and that's it.
So do you think like from this relationship, you've kind of removed your rose-colored glasses?
The rosy glasses broke, done.
Well, this has been a crazy, like, enlightening conversation. I feel like I've learned so much I didn't even know. And, like, you were on the same freaking show. So that's wild. My mind is blown. I just want to give a thank you to you for coming on and sharing your history.
Having me.
Yes, absolutely.
Follow me on Instagram. My regular Instagram is mainly just like for laughs and shits and fashion. But then my professional Instagram, I'm doing more on that. Like I've talked about the menstrual cycle. I'm going to run through IUDs and just try to give like 5-minute or less information videos on women's health issues.
I love that. I have so many questions myself. So yeah, it will be awesome. That's awesome. I can't wait to follow that. Then if you could also give us a follow at our social media links. And if you're interested in joining our Patreon, we're about to have a Q&A from our Patreon folks. So to the rest of you guys, goodbye. It was awesome having you here. We love you guys, and we'll see you next episode.